guys, sorry for being late. So we're gonna talk about being a person of color in creative spaces. The only creative space I'm involved in is voiceover.
I'm also involved in voiceover.
But we feel like we can apply it to really.
Really, you can. So we'll introduce ourselves first.
Absolutely.
I am Anairis and Quiñones. I am the voice of Mirko in My Hero Academia. Wolfgang and Strawberry Cookie in Cookie Run Kingdom. I'm the new voice of Matt and Dora. And Lynette in Genshin Impact, Kimberly in Street Fighter 6, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yes! Best girl, let's go. And yeah, and I have been a lifelong nerd, and I like to write, and I like to sing and voice act and all this stuff. So, yeah, what about you? Who are you?
I'm Zeno Robinson. I am the voice of Hawks. I wish.
Zeno, why aren't you at your table?
Sometimes you need a little break. My name is AJ Beckles. I'm the voice of Takemichi Hanagaki in Tokyo Revengers, Matt in Digimon 2020, Tosin, starting in Kaname Tosin from Bleach, starting with 1,000-Year Blood Ward and forward if they ever do other things. What else am I in? Shiki Tadamaru and Kemono Jihen, if you've seen that little show. Oh yeah, Necros Man, season 1 episode.
He's a little psycho.
I'm in Slime, I'm in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, my biggest one is probably Takemichi. So, nice to meet you all. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Hello.
So, we kind of... Huh?
Congrats to you two.
Oh, thank you so
thank
much.
you.
We're also gonna be married soon. So that's cool. Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. So yeah, we kind of like to do this as a Q&A type thing.
Q&A is
to make
like
it easier.
discussion.
Yeah.
We're talking, but if you guys want to give like your own stories or input, feel free. We're happy to hand the mic over.
And honestly, it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly, POC. I feel like that should be the main thing. But if you have any questions, like for us, outside of like ships and stuff like that, that would be great. And feel free to ask those too, because you got us for the next hour. So yeah. So does anybody have any like questions just off the bat, just that you've been thinking about? Or no.
Oh, up front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, go ahead and take.
Grab that last third one.
This one?
Yeah, I'm gonna unmute it once
Okay.
you start talking.
Gotta wait for the right timing.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, it's on.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And second of all, from your decisions on becoming a voice actor and to actually, landing the parts, how many, if any, roadblocks did you hit along the way?
Roadblocks. That's a good question. And it's hard to really quantify, I think. Do you have an answer for
Well, when it comes to like the decision making, I know for you, AJ, so loud. I know for you, AJ, you weren't really watching dubs, so you weren't really aware of like how the cast list looked like back in the day.
No.
For me, like I had always watched dub. Like I started watching anime when I was like 10 years old. And so I was very aware that back in the day, the cast lists were lacking in melanin. And so I was like, okay, well, it's still cool what they're doing. This anime is still cool, but I could never be in it, like that was that was what the lack of representation kind of put in me, and so when I was kind of making that decision, other than the fact that, acting is unstable as a career, I also was like, well, what if I am good enough, but it doesn't matter? And I end up failing just because of the color of my skin. Like, the idea of that kind of upset me, so I just never made that that jump. So it took a long time for me to be like, okay, maybe I can do this. Like it took me like booking work in Florida, which is not at all common. It wasn't common before the pandemic. And then at that point it's like, maybe, because I know this is abnormal, so maybe I can do it. So definitely there was the roadblock of the lack of representation already. And yeah, and then a lot of my first opportunities were for wonderful women of color. Like, I am so glad to be voicing Nessa and Mirko and everyone. But it was interesting because my in with a lot of the studios was, hey, we have a Black character. Can you audition for her? And I'm like,
And
sure.
only that one.
Only that one. I remember auditioning for Miraculous Ladybug, the movie. And they wanted me to read for, oh gosh, I forget her name, but there's Alia, yeah, or not Alia, no, it was the girl with the curly hair in the movie, and I forget her name, but there's a Black character in the movie that they wanted me to audition for, and I auditioned, but I also auditioned for other characters, and then I ended up booking Majestia, who is a very white woman, and that was really cool. So, you know, I guess it's like having that opportunity to show, hey, cool, yeah, I can audition for this character, but also it's crazy how I can like actually play this other character. I might be a better fit for that, you know? And it sucks being put in that box. And I think I personally have done a pretty good job at not letting myself be put in the box. I know some voice actors who have specifically never, ever auditioned for Black characters because they don't want to give the opportunity, and that's completely valid, you know? So, what about you, AJ?
Sorry, I was dissociating.
Same.
But yeah, so for me, I don't know, it's hard because I feel like a lot of it's invisible, you know, like I don't see the decisions, I'm not in the room, but I do know that there's a lot of times where I'm just like, why didn't I get this audition? I sound just like all the other people that got the audition. That's a little weird. So we're constantly, I feel like, in a position where we have to, and Zeno has done this panel with us a couple times and he feels the same way, where we have to advocate for ourselves, but we have to like work harder than I feel like everyone else. Because my name's, like I changed my name isn't AJ, it's something that sounds a lot more Arabic. So I was like, I'm gonna go with AJ, because I don't want that to be something that somebody sees in Japan or China, whatever, and they're like, we don't want that. Because at the end of the day, the casting director, even if they like us, they're not the one casting. The one that actually, the clients cast. And I don't know what their views are on all this and everything like that. So I was like, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm not going to be treated fairly just because my name sounds a little different.
Yeah. But also casting directors, like in our industry, they kind of choose who get the auditions, and also our agents on top of that. So, you know, we can see sides for characters, and there might be like 50 characters, and maybe we fit like 10 of them, but we'll only see the 2 Black characters, you know, out of the 50 characters.
And here's the thing, is like pre-pandemic, we just weren't given the opportunity. And I feel like once the Floyd protest happened and everything like that, everybody was like, oh wow, Black people exist. And then...
Who'd have thought?
What, the whole time? Wow, where'd they come from? So finally, everybody was like, okay, let's try to give other people the opportunity. At least let them play characters that match their skin color. And I think it's gone to the other extreme.
Yeah.
The whole point, and this is my personal philosophy, everybody kind of, the hard part about this is we all have different views on it. But for me, I was just like, give us the opportunity, let everyone audition, and then let's see who gets it.
Yeah.
Right? But for the longest time, we just weren't even getting the auditions. So it's like, how can I be in a show or be in a game if I'm not seeing the sides for them? But I'm just as talented as the people that are. But it became like, okay, we don't want to get any backlash, so we're gonna give the Black people the Black roles and the white roles and the Asian people the Asian roles, whatever. So that way, that when the cast comes out, nobody gets upset and we're all happy.
So it wasn't necessarily about representation as much as covering their butts.
Right, and the thing is that obviously more often than not, it just in the industry at large, It's mainly white folks that are in positions of power. It's changing slowly but surely, where everybody's starting to get more opportunities. But you write from experience. So if you are a white person in America, then you might make your character white because you know that experience. You're not going to try to write a Black or Latino character unless you want to go out of your way to do some research and stuff like that. You're going to write what you know. So there's a lot more white characters in the world. So if I'm being put in a position where there's maybe 40 characters in a cast and only 2 of them are Black, well, I only have 2 characters to audition for.
Two opportunities.
Versus maybe my white friends that have 20 characters they can audition for. So it makes the desperation more because it's like, oh, I only have this and that's it, and then I have to wait however long for the next one opportunity. So that makes things hard because, and on top of that, like a lot of times the main character might be white, and so it's like these characters can help boost our careers and get a scene in front of, in the mainstream. So if I'm not getting the audition for Peter Parker, but I'm getting the audition for like his Black friend, which is fine. Like if people see that I'm the Black friend, it's like that's cool. But who's gonna get the hype? The guy playing Peter Parker. So that means it takes long for me to get the same amount of credibility, and so that's the roadblock. It's not necessarily, I think, that we're not getting opportunities because we are now. More and more of us are. But it's still like we're still kind of trying to fight for the same amount of opportunities and the same recognition as other folks who may or may not be more marketable because they don't look like us. So that's the roadblock, I would say. But we're still here. Like that's the thing too, is like I'm grateful. I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, it's all doom and gloom. They still paid for us to fly out and come and see and meet all of you and everything like that. So I'm grateful for that. It's not like we're not successful in what we do. It's just a little bit harder.
I think all of us that are working right now are still pushing for better conditions for us, just making sure, because I guess we're part of this pioneer generation of like, oh, there's a lot of PSD working, specifically Black voice actors who are working, but of course we want more of us around. So it's just like making it easier and advocating as much as we can.
Preparing a path for the people coming behind us is kind of the goal. And I'm not doing anything crazy to do that. I just want to make sure whenever I'm given a role, I do the best I can do, so that there's no excuse to find, so that when I recommend somebody, it's not like, oh, who's this kid? Who's this guy? It's, oh, AJ is so good, and he says this other maybe person of color is good, and maybe I should give him a shot.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're trying to do now, is just be as good as we can be. But does anybody else have?
Saw a question over here.